Okay, well, hello everyone. Thanks for coming. We're going to be focusing on the patient file today. It's one of those aspects of the program that I think a lot of people don't necessarily make the best use of. So hopefully today's session and the recording will help people get to grips with it and start using it more, because it's got so many features. And so today is like the first in a 3-part series where we're going to be looking at it and exploring it. So we're going to be doing the basics first. And if you have questions, put them in the chat. And Anna, my co-host today, will be feeding those back to me. And we can cover those maybe after the first 20 minutes or so. We'll look at some questions if they're there, and then carry on and do another session after that. Okay, so I will share my screen. I'll share Radar Opus. Actually, first I want to share with you my browser, because I wanted to show you. Just going to hide that and that. Yeah, I just wanted to show you first the this part of the website. So it's radaropus.com, and you get there in the following way. So you go to radaropus.com, and under products, Radar Opus, engine types, feature comparison, you can look at what you get with your package. So with your engine, you can look at what features you get with your patient file. So as you can see, the mini engine has only the most basic functionality. So you can create and edit and save patient files. You can do a human or vet case. You can evaluate the remedy. You evaluate the remedy response, and you can enter in a pathology as well. And I'm pretty sure that you can save the prescription too. It would be not so good if you couldn't do that. And then with the Silver engine, you can also add in some additional administrative data. You can add one multimedia document to the admin side of things, and so on and so forth. So you can go to this site and check which engine you have first, and then see what features you have available in your patient file, because I'm obviously using the Diamond engine. So if you think, oh, mine doesn't do that, the answer is because you don't have the Diamond engine yet. Okay, and if you're in any doubt about that, just speak to your local representative. Okay, let me just stop that share, and I will share Radar Opus now. Okay, so if you're not sure what your which engine you have, you need to go up to help, and then where is it? License information. And then it will tell you the Diamond or Gold or Silver or Mini engine. So yes, you can always upgrade them. You can speak to your representative about that. So let me start from the beginning then. What you want to do before you think about saving or creating an analysis is really to create your patient file. So up here, you click on the drop-down arrow, or you just use the very simple shortcut, which on a Mac is Command-N, and on a PC, Control-N. And that allows you to create a new patient. And by default, we'll go into the administrative section first. Now, this has come up because I'm in Congress mode, which is a very handy thing when you're teaching, because it hides all of your patient names and replaces them with initials, which is very important to make sure their data is safe and secure. So I'm going to put in here that it's a webinar case example. Okay, and I can enter all of these administrative details. If you're, if you're a very fastidious person, you might find yourself doing that. I usually leave all this blank, and I'll have the details elsewhere. So then I just click on the disk icon to save. So we're old school, we still use the floppy disk icon. So that's a pretty universal symbol for saving. And now if I were to open my patient list and type webinar, you can see that it's come up there. Obviously it's not so obvious because all the names are hidden because I'm in Congress mode. Okay, and basically I'll give you a few tips on the program as we go along, just for general use. If you want to show or hide this table of contents, the easiest way without using a shortcut is to double click the tab that you're in here. So I just double click on the patient tab or the search tab, and it removes or hides, shows or hides that table of contents. So that's a useful tip for you. Okay, and you've also got within the administrative side, you can look at the family information and enter lots of details here. Again, this will depend on which engine you have. And you can send invoices as well, but you have to make sure you enter in all of this data to send an invoice. Yeah, you have to have the address and the VAT number and all of that stuff in there to use this. So this personally is something that I don't use, but I know people who do, and for them that it's very useful. And maybe if you have an assistant working for you who can deal with this side of things, then that would be useful for you. So, and you can even like send emails from here, and I believe you can send group emails to your patients as well, although this isn't something that I've done. So that would be for a later date, and I would need to check in with Carlo, who builds the patient file, about how to do that. So the basics are enter the name, click the disk icon, job done. And then you move over from the admin tab to the consultation tab. And here you can start writing your notes. Now, the main thing about this is you enter in a symptom. So let's say, okay, so I've got my symptom. What you have to do next is to press the tab key, which creates a new line or a new text box. And that allows you to treat each symptom in sort of isolation. So the next symptom might be or whatever. And then you press tab to go to the next line. Otherwise, they all end up on the same line. And that isn't an issue necessarily, but if you do have the Diamond engine and you use the grading, then you can't make the most of the grading facility. So, for example, if I wanted to state this was a very strong symptom, I could grade that with a 3 to indicate bold type, or 4 to indicate underlined, or 2 to indicate italics. So it sort of follows what we have in the repertory. And then, as with the administrative side, I just click the disk icon and it's saved. Okay. So the next thing would be to create your analysis. So I can go up here to my search, start typing, for instance, hammering occiput. So you don't have to finish the word. You can just put an asterisk and it would find hammers or hammering or occiput or occipital. And then I press enter, and by default, it's going to search in the last place that I specified, which happens to be in all documents. So I'm going to change that to all repertories. So here I can see synthesis, Murphy, Mangilavori, etc., Haverly, Ward, sensations as if. So I might want to just combine everything from here now to make sure I've got the biggest rubric covering as many remedies as possible. So if I want to do that, I just tick this option, see them all in one list, right click, take all and add them to the first clipboard. Okay, then you can see them going into my clipboard, and in a couple of moments it'll give me the option to combine them. Now, mine always takes a little bit longer to open an analysis because I've made about 50,000 additions to synthesis, so it's slowed it down a little bit. Okay, and by default, it names the symptom according to the rubric that has the most remedies in it. So in this case, that was coming from Mangilavori, hence the bit of Latin there. So I'll just get rid of that because I do speak Latin. and tidy that up and then rename. So now I've gone up to 21 remedies for that symptom. Okay. And if I were to look in just one of those repertories, synthesis has 8, Murphy has 5 here. So it's a useful technique when you're dealing with small sort of particular characteristic symptoms. Okay, and then I can click the eraser to clear that search. Then I just click back to my patient file, and then I could find the other symptoms there. So, and using my search tool, and this time I don't think I'll need to combine so much. I might just add, just look for the general symptom here. And I'll go for synthesis, air in open aggravates, and I'll just drag that across. And then just double check here. So they desire warmth. So I might go for warm. Ameliorates will be the bigger rubric. And again, I probably need to also put in generals. Okay, we're getting there. I'll just go to synthesis and warm ameliorates, just the general one. Okay, and that's it. That's my repertorization. And now I can save that to my patient, okay? And for argument's sake, let's say I'll prescribe camphor. So then I open the prescription window. So just to backtrack a little bit, I might be going a bit fast. What I've done is just add some rubrics to my clipboard, gone back to the patient file, clicked the disk icon, and now that analysis is linked to this patient. And to see that, I can click on the list of all consultations and analysis. I call this the overview. So as I enter more information, you'll see that come up here. Now, what is quite typical for me is that I've missed something here. So what I'm going to do is just sort of backtrack again. What it's quite useful to do here is to enter in what type of case it is. By default, the program does show you these boxes, but I tend to hide them so that I get a bit more space. So I'll just drop that down. And here you can enter in what sort of case it is. So I'm going to say this is an acute case. And chief complaint, well, I don't know because I'm making it up, but I could put influenza. So basically when you're entering a chief complaint, you have this plus button, which allows you to enter anything you want. So if influenza wasn't there, I could click plus and add it here, okay? But as it's there, I won't do that. I will just type it, double click on it, and there it goes. And you can enter the location. So if you work in multiple locations, entering this information in will help you if you forget the name of the patient, or you need to search for patients that you've seen in hospital or at home or in the surgery, etc. So Zoom, that's what all my patients have been thus far. Okay, and then I just click the disk icon to save. And I can click here to hide that bit of information. You'll see now when I click to the overview window that some of these details have been filled in. So the pencil icon takes you to the consultation notes, where you can grade your symptoms and enter symptoms. And this shows you all your analyses and other things. So it's the overview. And this is where you evaluate the prescription, which we're going to go in to in more detail in the next session on the patient file. Okay, so the next stage would be to enter my prescription, which is going to be camphor. And if you don't know the abbreviation, you click this arrow and you get a list of remedies and you just start typing. So if I were to type camphora, I would see the main one here, double click, and it goes in there. I can enter the potency. So here you enter the number. So I'm going to say 4Q or LM. So Q is the European version of LM. So I'll use Q. And the posology, I'm going to say dynamized. So again, you just, sorry if I'm going too quick. Let me just show you this again. If you don't know what's there, you click this arrow and then you start typing. And it does take a bit of getting used to, I'll admit. But once you get into it, you'll find that this is hugely helpful for cataloging everything you need relating to your patients. And once you've done that, you'll see there's a small disk icon that you can click. And there we go. So you can resize this window and you can show all the consultations here. So you can see all of the remedies you've prescribed in the course of the treatment for that patient. You can even enter the pathology as well here. So there's a list of pathologies which you can start typing. So, 99 pages, they've all got a pathology code as well. So it really is a very well equipped, very serious, very professional aspect of the program. Okay, so that's the main points covered. Let's see, has anyone asked a question as of yet?
No. So there is one question.
Okay.
I have a diamond license, but on mine, I can't see the qualification numbers you have to the right.
These ones?
Yes.
Okay, well, that would be something to check in with your local representative to make sure. Yeah, it's, let me just see here a minute. License info. Engine diamond. Because, it might be that your patient file hasn't been updated with the diamond engine. It only says up the top there. Yeah, do check in with them. Make sure that you've got what you've paid for with that.
Okay, that sounds good, Luke. That's the only question.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so that means everyone has got it, which is great. Okay, well, the next stage really would be when the patient comes for a follow-up. And so what you do then is you use this button, which is the pencil with a plus, and that adds the next consultation. And you'll see by default that the first consultation remains there for you to look at, which is very useful for when you're following up with questioning on their symptoms. So then you follow the same process. You put in, you obviously type what they say. For me at the moment, I type directly into the patient file, so I type fairly verbatim what they say. Other people might just put in the main symptoms there. So once you've done that, again, you just click on the disk icon and that second consultation is saved. Now, at this point, you might want to evaluate what that first prescription has done. So you can go ahead and click on this part of the program, the evaluation window. You can see what the remedy was here, and you just click on evaluate. So I would suggest, everyone's going to do this their own way, but I would use this option really, the general state. Again, there's an arrow which should open a window, but it's not. Isn't that typical? Okay. Maybe it's because it's after 0 days and it's not letting me do it because it's not actually possible after 0 days. Interesting. Not seen that before. So anyway, let's say I can show you in a different patient file that I created some time ago. I can show you how to evaluate. So let me go and do that. So I'm going to close this. Good habit to always close the windows when you're done. I'll just delete these symptoms. Okay, so I'm going to open my list of patients. Probably got some other examples here. See what this one is. Nothing in there. Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll work with a real patient, and then we'll get somewhere. Okay, so let me see. I'm just going to stop sharing for 1 minute. Okay, let's go with, let's open that case. Okay, back to Zoom, and I'm going to share my screen. Radar Opus. Get rid of that. Okay. So I'm going to open one of my cases, and I don't want to see the analysis right now, so I'll say no. Okay, so we've got our consultation here, and you can see how it works when you've added some intensity or some grading to certain symptoms. And you can see that I've added tags here to some of the symptoms. So this, I've said, is part of their physiological anamnesis. So it's, part of the case history. And then when something's quite strong or important for the case, I've graded it with a 4. You can also you can use just this tick symbol, and it means that it's an important symptom. So you can see I've got that there. And like with lots of aspects of the program, if you hold the mouse, sort of hover it, it'll tell you what it means. Okay, and this one, family anamnesis. So one of the most powerful things about the patient file is the ability to sort the symptoms according to how you've graded them, what's most important. And to do that, you right-click on the patient file, and then you sort symptoms by decreasing intensity. And then what you see is all of the grade 4, according to your understanding of the case, comes up. So when I'm typing the case, I'll say, when something's important or striking or strange and peculiar, usually I use the grading system because it's so quick. You're just typing away and then you click up here. And you don't have to think too much about it. You can just say, oh, that seems quite important, or that, I want to make sure I go back and ask about that. So then when it comes to repertoires, it's easier to see things like, oh yeah, reprimands, aggravates. So, I can go and find a rubric for that. OCD tendencies. Croup is the chief complaint. Draw is always the same, so maybe monomania we could look at. So having a lot of fevers, etc. So that I find is a really, really useful aspect of the patient file, and use that an incredible amount. And then just to go back to the main view, I just right click again and untick the option to sort the symptoms. And then we're back to the usual view. So one thing that's also very useful is the ability to create your own tags. So you can see here modal. So that means modality, basically. So let's say I wanted to add a tag to this symptom. What I do is just click, so I'm in this right-hand column, open up the list, and then you just start typing. And if it's not there, you can create it. So let's say I wanted to create extension. So the symptom is extends somewhere. So then I click on the disk icon, and I've created that tag. And then I can type and double click, and then it creates a tag there. Now you could ask, what's so good about that? Well, basically you can do the same thing here. So if I right click, I can then limit the text to symptoms tagged as whatever I've put there. So I could just look at modalities. Okay, I've only added 1 in this case, but you can go about it in a more, the more work you put into your cases here, the better that feature becomes. And that can also become quite important. So you can see I've tagged quite a few symptoms as important here. So again, if I right click on the text, I can limit the text to only important symptoms. And then you go from something which is a large amount of text to something which is like a nucleus of your case, and that makes it much easier to then go and find your symptoms, find your rubrics. Okay. And of course you can search for words. So if you remember them saying something and you wanted to check, you could right click and search for words. So there might be others. Yep, so you've got to search within the consultation text as well. The other thing you can do is attach documents to your patient. So if I click on the attachment symbol, you see I can add an image or a sound file. Perhaps if the patient has a cough, you might ask them to make a recording, send it to you. You can even add a video file. You've got to be careful with that one because that gets saved in your backup. So if it's a big video, your backup will get very big because they obviously take up a lot of memory. You can add a PDF, a Word file, an Excel file, or any other type of file. So that is useful. I often put my patient questionnaire as an attachment there. And I'll show you another case where I've done that. Okay, so in this, I can show you the repertorizations linked to the case. And the other thing that I wanted to show you as well is this option up here. Now, I don't think many people use this, but it's basically something that you can customize yourself. It's called free fields. So basically what I've done in mine is if you click on this pencil icon, you can basically label what this box relates to, and it can relate to anything you want. So I've kind of used Rajan Sankaran's 8-box method as a guide here. So I can put anything to do with the diagnosis, pathology, etc. in here. Local or SRP symptoms go in this box. The physical generals or modalities or etiologies go here. Mental themes or symptoms or polarities go in this box. Dreams, delusions, fears, or particular situations that the patient's sensitive to. The effect on the patient, how do they react, what do they do? I also might put Mapamundi stuff in there. So it's, it's very, very useful, this box, this overview, if you like. You can then sort of organize your information. So what I would do is right click, sort symptoms by the intensity, then, copy, open up my free fields, and then paste that in here. Yeah, so I'll just cancel that. When you save, all of this formatting gets lost, by the way, and it just goes into plain text. You see there? Get rid of that. Okay, so you can see how versatile this part of the program is. Another thing that I do if I want to bring out certain bits of, certain words, I'll just double click and then change the font size to make things ping out at me. You can, let's say I wanted to change this now to grade 4, I can do that. Sudden. Maybe I want to look at all the symptoms that are sudden there. Excuse me. Okay. So that's my sort of main process working with the patient file.
So Luke,
and then, yeah, go on.
Oh, sorry. Just to go way back when you're assigning gender, male, female, there is a question, is there an other choice for people more gender queer?
Yeah, good question. It's probably something we need to look at, to be honest, because
Okay.
I don't think there is. Oh, there is other. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying it seems the other choice for gender doesn't work in admin, but it looks like it is there.
Yep, it should do. You can add whatever you like here.
Okay.
So you could put, gender fluid, for example. Save that, double click. Okay.
And then she's asking, sorry, how did you pull that up so that you can type in?
It's the drop down arrow.
Okay.
In the text field. So basically, the way the patient file works is it's got pick lists, is the technical term for it. So whenever you have a field that requires a pick list, there's a drop down arrow. Like when we were entering the prescription details, or that was the main one I can think of. There's always this arrow here that gives you options, and then when there's nothing there that is suitable, you click on the plus and you create a new value there by typing.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. I'm pretty sure there's certificates. That's the national insurance details, administrative free field. So you get the same thing here. I'm not sure what I would use that for personally, but you might find a good use for that. There's also here, you can enter in private information that would never be, because you can export the patient information, which is important. I'll talk about that in a moment. So you can put like private things that should never be disclosed in there. So yeah, with regard to that, because of GDPR, it's worth saying that Radar Opus has everything you enter in the patient file is fully encrypted. There's no way to read it unless you have the password for your Radar Opus program. You can't just go in and open a document from the hard drive. So it means you're GDPR secure working in this way. And that's why you're asked to change your password every 3 months. And it's why you have to enter a password if you left the computer for some hours as well. So it's very secure in that sense. And the other requirement of GDPR is that you can export and send the patient information if they request it. So that feature is available to you. You can export it and it creates a document, a Word document, and you can then save and send that to your patient should they request it, or should another medical professional request that information. Okay. Are we good? Any other questions?
I don't understand your question, Rosa. She's saying in the admin screen, there is no miss under title.
Okay. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Male, female, title. You can, there's miss here.
Okay. And you can also add it too.
You can add anything you want.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Luke. Those are the only questions so far.
Okay, no problem. Let's just get rid of that. So maybe some people are using an older version or something. Maybe that's why. So with the analysis then, you can see the remedies that were prescribed here. In this case, Ignatia was given first and it was unsatisfactory and it changed to carcinosin. So I can open the repertorizations that I made directly from here just by clicking. It gives you a little preview there, which is nice. And again, apologies that mine's a bit slow. I'm sure yours won't be. Okay, very good. So you can see in this case, I've used several clipboards, one which is more focused on the physicals and generals and sort of the etiology, which was according to the parents. And then this one, which is more the mental state, using Jeremy Scher's big rubric for OCD there, which encompasses all things like monomania, thoughts compelling, things like that, will get compiled into one big rubric, so you have less chance of missing a remedy. So I find that a very useful tool in many applications. And then everything relating to the fever, because in this case was a viral group that was had a sort of relapsing fever. And then some other sort of smaller, more experimental rubrics here. And if you want to combine all of your clipboards, the shortcut to do all of them together is F8. It acts as a toggle, so you press it twice. Or you can click one, hold down the Command or Control key, depending on whether you're Mac or PC, and then click the others to add them in. And what I used in this case was the expert system of George Vithoulkas. So I pressed Shift F9 to open that, or you can click on the chess piece icon and open it from there. Or you can even click on the analysis text at the top of the screen, the top menu bar, and you can open it from there as well.
So Luke, I have a question. How do you show all of the clipboards again?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Okay.
So yeah, it was helpful for just making sure I looked at carcinosin as well as Ignatia in this case. And it's interesting that you've got smaller remedies there like malandrinum and vaccinum coming up as well. So that's just a little quick look at the Vithoulkas system and what it can show you. This has got the keynote showing at the moment, but if you select these options, it'll show you the rubrics with and the rubrics without. So you can see what's driving these results there. And quite often I just look at the ones that it has with. Okay. So basically there, if you want to just look at all of the clipboards combined, you can go to analysis and show current analysis of symptoms and remedies. F8 will by default show all of the clipboards together. And it's like a toggle switch. You press it once and it sort of moves away from the analysis, and you press it again and then everything's there. It shouldn't be, it should just be press once really, but yeah, that's so be it. So you basically click on one clipboard, then hold down the Command key on a Mac or the Control key on a PC, then click on the next one. And then they're combined. And so it's useful because you can remove that one and join these two together for a different look. So it's quite different results when you remove all of the mental symptoms. Just look at the fever and the generals there. Or I could just look at the mentals plus these two symptoms to do the jerking. And other things you can do, even if you don't have the Vithoulkas system, you could change your analysis strategy here. So you can always look at small remedies directly from the Radar Opus analysis window. Or small remedies and small rubrics. And that's, sometimes a very useful thing to just have a look there. And what you can do with the patient file, which is helpful, let's say, okay, I'm going to look at small remedies now. And with these two clipboards, and I'm going to take a screenshot of that and add it to my patient file so that I don't have to keep going back and forth between the different analysis strategies. I'll just stick to my main one, and then I will go back to the patient file by clicking on their tab, click on the pencil icon to go to the consultation. I usually go to the top and make my attachments there. And then I'll add an image file, screenshots, and I can just add that into my patient file there. And then when you click, this little window comes up and you can just open it from there. Very nice, very handy feature. Okay. Remove that. Okay, so that's it. I could show you the evaluation window here. It was a long time ago and I wasn't really using all aspects of the patient file there, but the remedy worked very well. I'll say major improvement. And here with the prognosis or re-evaluation, you can enter in some sort of, based on the homeopathic philosophy of how remedies react, you can state what happened. So short amelioration, ML without aggravation, functional disease. Yeah. So in this case, it was quite a long time ago, so I'm not, sure off the top of my head, but I'm going to put that there. You can enter in any notes you like. And then you can go into even more depth. If you click here, you can evaluate every single symptom. So if you say this symptom was completely gone, you can go into a lot of depth. And this is the sort of depth that we need to look at doing when we, supplying our cases for research. So that's why this is all here, really. So I can evaluate the main pathology as well. And that's it. Okay, and if I then entered a new consultation, there should be a trend coming up here. Yeah, the more evaluating you do, this will start showing a graph basically. And then you can even conclude the case. And that will allow you eventually, when it's fully functional, to send it to Clinical and take part in research projects. Okay, that's just, I should also show you, because in this case, I've done something that I actually don't want to keep. So if I want to delete something, I right click and delete the selected consultation. Or likewise, if it's the wrong repertorization, I can right click there and delete that repertorization. There we go. And delete. Okay. Anyone got any other questions or things that they want to see?
I answered a couple, so I think we're good to go.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, great. The other thing that you can do in the patient file is to search in it. So this option here allows you to search in the patient file. Okay, so what is this good for? So you can search in your prescriptions. So I've just entered that for now, and that's it. And then just click on search. Then I can see literally everything that I've ever prescribed, as long as I've entered those details. So that's just page 1, page 2 over here. And let's say I wanted to open a case from here, double click, and I open a case. So it's by default gone to the last consultation. So I might go to consultation 1 now and look at the case details here. So this is quite good because it can show you a different way of working. So in this case, it wasn't so much about physical symptoms, it was more about the mental state. And there was a lot of language that I found to be quite characteristic. So things like, someone offends me, I want to get back to them straight away. So you can see what I do is to just, in addition to making the symptoms grade 4, mainly because they're an important theme in this case. So there's no hard and fast rules about how you use it. It is up to you. It's homeopathy is an art and a science. And so, in a case that's rich in symptoms, I'll use it in that way. But if it's rich in themes or it's more of a psychological case, then I'll still use the intensity, but I'll use it more to indicate that something is an important theme. So here you can see from my tagging that I thought there were quite a lot of themes of mammal remedies here. Someone's putting you down, you've got low status, so a lot of themes about hierarchy in mammal cases, allies, condemning my friends. So there's a theme of, you know, whether you're included in the group or outcast from it. The patient mentioned even like mother's milk. Vengeful, you know, an animal characteristic. So I've put animal here. Feeling threatened, alienated, growling or swearing. Okay, so this I think shows again the versatility of the patient file and how it allows you to go from, you know, a full verbatim case where you've got everything written there, to highlighting and sorting the most important information right to the top where you're going to see it. And in this case, I can also right click and show the symptoms tagged as, for example, mammals. Then I could take all of this text and copy, and I could start organizing that into here. So sensational kingdom. So if I put that all in the kingdom box, then reopen it, then I'll have all the kingdom information in there. And that would be quite easy to, again, copy and paste from there into a Word document if I was going to think about publishing the case, or you know, writing it up if I was a student, writing up homework, that sort of thing. Go on.
Yeah, so Luke, how are you switching back and forth from your list of symptoms to the actual case you have typed? Someone is asking that.
Okay, so basically this is the pencil takes you to your consultation notes. Mm-hmm. And, you know, whenever you see the disk icon highlighted, it means you've made a change. And if you click here, that saves it. And then to go to see your analyses, you click on this icon, which is like a calendar. I call it the overview because it shows you everything you need. And then if you want to open your analysis, you just click here on the one you want to open. You can see I've put in a bunch of Materia Medica sources there as well, so it looks quite chaotic, but that's just the way I roll. So again, mine's taking a bit of a longer time, which I apologize for, but yeah, that's down to the fact that I'm working with the synthesis database and adding a lot of new remedies to it. So in this case, I've got a repertorization, which is much more thematic, where I'm using rubrics from Share's Q repertory and from my thematic repertory, and even using a family filter on on that repertorization. So basically, to answer your question, you go from the pencil to the overview, and from there you can open your repertorizations. And then, you know, basically the main navigation happens with these tabs up here. So I can see the analysis tab there and the patient file tab there. Okay. So hopefully that covers that one.
Yes.
Good. And here you can see all of the things that are the attachments that I've made to this patient file. So I, you know, made a screenshot of my repertorization so I can look at that quickly. And the patient forms here, their questionnaire, and a little mind map that I made.
And you know what, Luke? We should probably show people how to back up the files, because that's super important so they don't lose anything.
Massively important, yeah, because when you're putting everything in Radar Opus patient file, you need to make sure that you're not going to lose that. So just have a little drink. Sorry. Okay, so you go File, No, you don't. Sorry. Go tools, database management, backup. And the Radar Opus asks you every time you quit, do you want to make a backup? So there's no excuse for not backing up. By default, you let Radar Opus choose, in which case it will back up everything. Then you click next. Then you just choose where you want it to go. And, then you click next. Tells you exactly what it's going to back up. And you click start. And that's it. I usually do mine every month and then delete the older ones. And that will mean that if anything bad happens, you can always restore everything. The other thing you can do to be doubly sure is to export every single patient here. You'd have to do that one by one, and that will create a Word document for you. But bear in mind, they should be then stored on a, on a password protected drive to make sure you're conforming to the GDPR rules.
And Luke, can you use an external hard drive in that drop-down menu? The same.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're backing up, you can back up straight to an external drive, or you can. That's what I've done there. So if I show you backup, you can see mine goes to expansion, which is a little backup drive that I have in my laptop.
Okay, perfect. And then Luke, someone is asking, when you're taking a case, where are you writing what the patient is saying? Or are you just going through and this is what the patient is saying and you're just making them into individual symptoms?
Yeah, so I just write exactly what they say. And every time every time the sentence finishes, I press tab, which creates a new text box. And then I just carry on writing.
Okay. Yeah, and that's why it's so long. You have so many, and then you'll go through after and then assign the intensities and the colors and the tags and everything.
Yeah, so I tend to, like, if as I'm going, I will change intensity to make it so then if I want to ask them about something, it's easy for me to find that and go back and ask. But with the with things like this, if I'm working a bit harder on the case to figure it all out, I'll start doing the tagging and everything afterwards, because that takes a little bit longer. And that takes a bit of time to create your own tags. So again, basically, it's this right-hand column here. There's a drop-down button that lets you see all of the options for all of the tags. And it comes with all of these ones built in. But, the amazing thing that's so useful is that you can customize that. So you can always just click this plus button and add any tag that you want for your way of understanding the case. So these are just some examples which I've put in to mine, which are mostly to do with, kingdom information or miasm or Mappa Mundi. Yeah. But you can do it however you like. And then when it comes to adding a tag, you just you basically have to be in this column, and then F9 is the shortcut which opens that window. And then you start typing whatever it is that you want. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Nice. Yeah, so that's why it takes a bit longer. Whereas to just change, something here is just a couple of clicks.
Okay, and Yvonne is saying, sorry, you have to be in what column? I missed your cursor.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's find a symptom here. So let's say, okay, someone who's quite insecure, they could have the bit of the phlegmatic temperament going on. So I keep doing that. Stop doing that. Basically, what I would do is I'm in this symptom, then I click into the right-hand column, Then I press F9 or this key, and then I type what I was looking for, double click, and then that's tagged, and that's it. So one really simple thing is if it's an important symptom, you just click on this tick, and then that gets put in straight away. So I sort of forget to use that, to be honest, because I use the grading so much, but that's just as helpful. So yeah, you can easily just put that in and then right click and limit the text to just the important symptoms. Right click and then untick that. Yeah. Okay, so I'll click the disk icon to save. And the other thing about the patient file, when you search, you can even see a graphic analysis sort of auditing your patients. So it's interesting for me to see that I didn't realize I have a predominantly male clientele. You can see the age range as well. Actually, I don't enter their age or birth of date, so this is wrong. Sorry, date of birth of date. I don't enter that information because I'm a bit slack like that. So I should do that, and then I'd have more interesting results there. So if you label everything up, you can actually see interesting things about your practice. You can sort of audit your practice, can see the most prescribed remedies. And like I showed you briefly here, we can look into this a bit more. I just showed you all the prescriptions, so I can look at that. But I can also search in the consultation text itself. So I chose the option search in consultations. Then here I want to look in the text, and I want to find anything to do with, let's say, failure. Then I click on search. Then I can see all the cases where that came up. And you get a little preview of the text there. Or of course I could search for pathology. You can see the cases where certain pathology has been entered. So I think that's it really. We covered loads there. I thought there would be lots more questions about basic things, but seems everyone knows what they're doing.
Yeah, and then Luke, in the tab is MM. Did you make that? Is that Mapamundi or is it the Materia Medica?
Yeah, I just put that for a shorthand for Mapamundi.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
But yeah, you can do whatever you like when you're creating your own tags.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, people are asking about the recording, and I've posted the link where the recording will be posted. Okay.
Okay.
So you can definitely review and rewatch. And Luke is going to do this again, but with a more intermediate level look at the patient management system on April 15th. And so you guys will get the email to register for that as well.
Great. Cool. I will look forward to that. Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Thanks, Anna.
Thank you so much, Luke. We appreciate your time. And you're getting a lot of thank yous.
Oh, cheers, everyone.
Okay.
I can see. Nice. Okay. Bye for now.
Okay, bye. Thank you.